and gentlemen, welcome back. 2002 Toyota Highlander. I'm not going to lollygag around too much on this one. That one gets transmission, as advertised multiple times. Let me get the camera off of here. Ooh, ugly mug. Alright, so let me get this flipped around. Say hi! Right there is your transmission. Note. Transmission mount. Mount in the back. Nothing on this side. Oh, let's flip the side about the camera. Kind of take note. Whoop. Keep the hand out of it. Bolt hole, bolt hole, bolt hole. Bolt hole, bolt hole. Kind of keep note on all that. I mean, there's a method to the madness, I guess. So make sure you have your assembly right there so you can look at the assembly. You know what to take off. So let's head underneath. This one here is generally pretty simple. Right there is some bolts for your power steering rack. Sway bar links can come off. Of course, we're going to start by draining the transmission, which I already did. Take the wheels off. We've got to take everything loose on the bottom end and pull the CV axles out. We already know that. But in a nutshell, what's going to happen here? We're going to drop the frame. That's what we're going to do. You're going to want a hanger on top to hold the engine in place. This one is a 4-cylinder, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2001 to 2007. So these vehicles here do have problems with the transmission. But on the other hand, too, considering that most people don't service their friggin' transmissions, you know, it's not really a surprise them going out. Anyway, there's plastic. The mounts, you can see that. I'm going to pause it up, go down with it to let you see it. Well, as I said, this is old style. Well, there's just not a whole lot to these. You're going to remove the starter up here. We're going to clear the top of that out. And I don't know if I'm going to leave the camera on or not. Alright, keep it in mind, this is a Toyota. So, Asian vehicle. What does that tell us? For one, 10, 12, 14, 17, 19, you find those sizes. I'm not going to go through here and specify every one of them. Anyway, sorry about the interruption. What was I saying? Okay, you got, like I said, 10, 12, 14. You're not going to find 18 and 13. You're just not going to find these on these Asian vehicles. You will have to have a bridge. I had the bridge out multiple times, so you know what that is. So let's start clearing the top. Let me get this camera situated a little bit. I think this side here will be safe to do. Actually, I'm going to pause you up for just a second because I will be removing the hood as I always do. And bring it back over here. As you've noticed, the hood is gone. Airbox, I took it out. This is really simple stuff. Whoa. That dipstick right here has got a vent tube. Not all of them have that, so you might have to switch that, or you might want to switch it over. Don't know if you want to or not, but in any event, some of them do, some of them don't. Doesn't take a whole lot to clear all this out, and that's more than enough. Clearing out, there's some clips on the wires. Take them loose. So, next on the agenda is the starter, the transmission shifter wire. That's from past experience, good God. From past experience, I can tell you that these are capable to be a booger and a half to do, so kind of keep that in mind. These can be a booger. Starter on these units is easy to do. Hope everybody is enjoying this enormous heat we got going on right now. If you're affected by it, that is. Say that, oh no. So guys, you want to hold, never say that. Right now. Alright, so we got the starter, of course. We've got a ground bolted on the transmission. We've got the harness to unplug. As far as this harness is concerned, don't worry about the plugs. Go ahead and unplug everything. The way these things are run, it would be, there's no way you can plug it in wrong. I mean, there's no way. Just no way. Some of the stuff can be done from the bottom, like your shift cable, your transmission lines, the best that I can remember. Those can be done from the bottom once you remove the plastic, that is. Plastic will have to come off for that. Well, I thought there was a hanger, but there's not. This is missing, that's why. Let me see what I got. Pulls you up. Now there is a drilled and tapped hole for the engine lift over on that side, but the bracket is not on it. Let's see what I got. Of course, install your bridge. I'll go over here on the corner. That bolt, more than enough to hold that assembly in place. Actually, you know, I started off a little bit wrong. I should have already been underneath and done my my wheels and all that good stuff. I should have already taken that off. I didn't. I just got carried away explaining to you how to do it. For me, not a problem. For you, you might want to kind of pay attention in the order you do things so you don't have to go up, down, up, down. As somebody, or as multiple people always mention, well, not everybody's got a lift. I get that. It's hard to buy a lift to do the occasional repair. Well, this one here has seen a lot of rust. Sway bar link, pretty rusted on this one. Not even gonna mess around with it. Anyway, I guess we could run off some people. Why not? Kind of fun. Quad. Aftermarket. Anyway, I did spray everything down before I got started, of course. Everybody knows that penetrant don't do nothing. It makes the nuts come out. So now we can get these idiots that, oh, I'm done watching when he said that. Yeah, okay. Have a good day, is all I got to say. That rhymes too. So, yeah, I did spray it down with penetrant, but the penetrant really does not penetrate the threads when the threads are rusted like that. It really doesn't do anything. You can have it soaking for days, and it barely creeps in there. I mean, it's proven fact. So anyway, now maybe we'll get rid of some of that riffraff. Anyway, moving on, we still got to undo our lower ball joints. We got to get them out of here. In my case, I'm not going to do this right this minute. I want to concentrate on some of the other bolts for right at the moment, and get this prepped and go from there. So remember what I said about the plastic. Let me get this light, because right now all it's doing is blinding. So as I was advertising before, a lot of your lines, matter of fact, you could have done the plugs from down here. Once the plastic is off, you know, you just bend, whoa, you bend this a little bit, and you can get to the 214 mils for the brackets in the front, and then of course you just got the 19 main bolt, but we can undo the clip for the transmission cable and all that. We can do it from right here, the lines from right here. Not a problem at all. So like I said, I'm going to not leave the camera on for all of that. This is fairly straightforward stuff, not that big of a deal. Alright, frame is on the floor right there. Of course the lines are undone. These lower bolts right here are undone. I got to take this one out, not there, then some on top. Same on the other side. I mean, the usual business for removing a transmission. The flex plate, get through the hole right here. We'll lower the vehicle down and we can do it from here. We can put a transmission jack under it and pull the transmission right out. That frame is a bit on the heavy side, but you get you a buddy with some muscle, it's not a problem for you to move that frame around. And later on, get it back up there. I'll pause you back up. I lied. It's the inspection. You get the bolts through the inspection cover. Sorry about that. I really thought for some reason we're going through the starter hole, but yeah, it's the inspection cover here on the bottom. So anyway. Always good when the salvage unit falls on the floor. So I just dropped that thing in the floor. Lost the wheel. Lost the wheel on my transmission jack. So yeah, didn't take the transmission long to come off of it. So well, that does happen, of course. So I'll have to source us another wheel. But anyway, that one is out. Oh me! All right. So I'm gonna pause the camera up right there. It's literally that simple. There's a couple of bolts right there on top. That's all that really is. You got the engine mount that or the transmission mount, I should say, that has to be switched over because it does not come with the other transmission. Clean up a little bit, and that thing is actually essentially ready to be put back together. Yeah. Anyway, long and short of it, that's it. So it's I know I get asked this all the time. It's hard for me to tell you how long it's going to take. You know, it can be as little as 3 hours to get it out of there. It can be as much as 6 hours to get it out of there. You know, it's hard to say. You know, it depends on the fasteners and the way everything's working for you. There's just a lot of factors right there. In my case, you know, I was able to take the frame and lower it down, and I didn't even, if you see right there, I didn't even disconnect the CV axles. I didn't do any of that. You know, and we can put it back together just the same way. Now, one way or another, you know, I mean, there's multiple ways to do this job. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I use the hoist here to winch that transmission back into place. Buckled her up, lickety split, no problem at all. I'm gonna put some bolts in it, get my fittings hooked up, get some of the cables hooked up on the side, and get the drive lines buckled back up. Of course, they're going to have to go in before we get the frame back on it. The frame is right there sitting on blocks. That is ready to go. What I normally do is just lower the vehicle on the frame, get it close enough to where I can hang it anyway. And that pretty much is the extent of that. I'm not going to film all that. Like I said, now I'm going to concentrate on getting all these transmission lines back on. I sucked the transmission fluid out of here. Everything is good to go right there. The motor mount needs to stay loose because you'll have to get your frame back on that motor mount. The other one should still be set, so that's fine. Anyway, like I said, drive lines, all that good stuff, it's got to be buckled up. All right, you have to bear with me on this one here. I don't know what you can and cannot see, and I'm not hauling the camera around. So, the frame needs to go back. Now, we need to pay mine to your motor mount, transmission mount. Remember, all that stuff's got to go back into the holes. We got our brackets laying on the floor, but see, this is the bolt stuck there. We're out of line here, and this is what I told you to leave loose, because that one was actually exchanged from the other transmission, so that ain't going to be, it wasn't going to be right anymore. So now the steering rack right there, it's got to go, it's got to slip in. You got to make sure that all falls into place when you're going up with it, because you cannot get it after the fact. So this is, you know, this is on the way in, so all of that looks good. And once again, I'm going to have to pause the camera up because you won't be able to see nothing anyway. So, and I'm not dragging the camera and not being able to do my work, you know. One more time. So we're easing up there. Our mount here was started at some point in time. He just popped back out. So I can't do this with a camera, but anyway, we're easing up. The sway bar, you need to make sure it stays loose. The steering rack right there fell back into place. It's inside the brackets. And I'll pause the camera because, like I said, I can't hold the camera and do the other things all at the same time. So you'll just have to fiddle with it till you get it. So as far as the main frame bolts go, these here, you'll have to start all your bolts by hand. They have to be started. If for whatever reason you cannot get the frame bolts to go in, stop, reevaluate, because they have to go in by hand. You cannot force them up. They have to go in by hand no matter what. Well, we got our sway bar links attached, the steering rack attached. We've got our steering rack is hooked up back to the struts back here, to the knuckles. That is, we put the plastic back on. All the bolts are tightened up, torqued down, so everything went back right back in place where we came from. So I'll put the wheels back on, and then I'm going to go topside, bring you along. Whoops. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I bolted up cruise control with our valve cover, whatever you want to call that, cowl back on. We replaced not replaced, but we put the air box back, put the starter on, just 2 bolts on that one, put the battery on, obviously. We got all that done, and the most amazing thing is, it only got a couple of bolts left over. No, that's kidding. We had a couple of fasteners from the other transmission. We don't have any bolts left over, never ever have bolts left over. You know, I guess it can't happen, but always try not to have any kind of bolts left over. We got everything we took off and put back on. Like I said, we had a couple of fasteners from the other transmission, some of the brackets and stuff like that that was on it. Kind of doubled up on that. But anyway, long story short, we're ready to put the hood back on and fill this thing up with some fluid. So, got the hood bolts laying over here. Of course, always treat the customer's vehicle with respect, no matter what the vehicle looks like. I want it to leave here exactly the way it got here. No, there's no excuse to be made on that part, you know. Always want the vehicle to leave here just the way it got here. So, at this point in time, we are ready to throw some fluid in it and see if we can get it to go in gear. Then we got to go drive it, obviously, or else we wouldn't know if it works or not. I'm going to use Valvoline. I did not make it to the Toyota dealer. I got 4 quarts. That's normally what the drain and fill is, I'm sure. They got some pretty good guys down there at the parts store. They look it up for me. I don't even look it up. I normally can't trust them. They haven't steered me wrong yet. This one here, we might make another little trip to the parts store. Because we drained the cooler and everything, so it's going to take a little bit more, I'm sure. But anyway, 4 quarts to start with. I'm going to pause you up, and, well, that just about concludes the video. Yeah, I mean, adjusting this one here, it's got a dipstick, warm it up. Go by the dipstick, very easy to do, so basic stuff. Like, subscribe, comments, questions, concerns, know where to put them. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.